not scared of me at all, are you? Get. Go get him. Come on, get. No, don't go. Enjoy it while you can, featherheads. So yesterday ended up being a pretty stressful day. I got the work done in the morning, but then around lunchtime we had a tornado watch, which, being from the Midwest, I take tornado watches pretty seriously. And I also noticed that the chickens didn't leave the pen all day, which, as you can see today, is very unusual behavior. So I was a little on edge to begin with. And so we were waiting all day. This was the remnants of Hurricane Beryl coming through. So we're waiting for rain, for thunderstorms, and then we had this tornado watch. And I got canning beef stock because I had to get it out of my fridge. And the next thing I knew, we had a tornado warning as I was halfway through pressure canning. And again, being from the Midwest, I've actually lived through a tornado that passed just a couple of blocks from where we were cowering in a basement. I take it pretty seriously and went down to the basement and was down there for 45 minutes to an hour. Of course, as soon as the power goes out, I don't have cell signal here, so I'm dependent on my Wi-Fi for cell signal. And when the power went out, cell signal went out, so I didn't have any way of knowing what was going on. So that was a little anxious making. But everything passed fine, and the tornado warning passed, and I was able to come up out of the basement. We were still on a tornado watch until about 11:30. So I was up pretty late last night waiting for all of that to pass. So today I'm very low energy, and the chickens are feeling better. I just had to chase them out from up near the garden, which is another argument for why I've got to get this coop done, because I've got to get them penned in, or they're going to be God knows where in my garden, where I'm having enough problems. Because, as you can see, it wasn't the raccoons that were eating that down, because all of my winter squash are eaten off, which really upsets me. And I'm worried for my summer squash because they're looking big and beautiful, and there's not a lot left up there for these jerks to eat. So I really got to get that fence done. I need like 3 other people here to help me get some of this work done, but I do what I can, and by next year we'll have all the infrastructure in place, so it'll be less of a problem. And there they go, tearing back into the hedgerow. All right, well, I got to get this day going, and we'll see if I get out here to get the last of that work done on the chicken coop this afternoon. I had hoped that the lower temperatures would make this easier to do, but it's still so humid that the temperature doesn't even matter. But that's okay. So I have the linoleum up. Parts of it look like a 7-year-old did it, but it's covered and that's going to be good enough. I still want to go back in. I've got a tube of silicone and I want to just go along all of the seams just to give it that little bit more protection. I don't know how much of a difference it's going to make, but, and there will be spots that I just didn't cover well enough, so it'll leak through, but it won't all rot through, and that's, I'm going to call that good. I am not a construction person. I would love to be a construction person, but I never had anybody in my life who did anything mechanical or hands-on like that. You know, my father was a minister, my mother was a teacher, and they are all wise, wonderful, skilled people in their own ways. I've learned a lot of things from both of them, but this was just not anything that they did. And when I was married, my husband and his father did all this and never really taught me, even when I asked, but that's okay. So the fact that it's done it all, I'm counting as a win. Someday I'm going to learn how to do framing, but today is not that day. Oh, hello. You want to check it out? So I need to do the silicone. I need to cover the bottom of the chicken coop. There's a gap around like 3/4 of the coop that I need to get covered. A, so the chickens don't get under there and get stuck where I can't get them out. B, so predators can't get under there and get at the girls while I'm not here to protect them. And I don't want to give one more darn place for the groundhog to live. I'm having a hard enough time with him right now. So that, I don't think I'll get to that tomorrow. I may do the silicone tomorrow. I think tomorrow I'm going to have to mow because it's been over almost 2 weeks now, I guess. And while the clover is great for the bees, it needs to be kept under control periodically. So that'll be tomorrow and whatever else I get to tomorrow. But we'll see how early I wake up. All right. Well, I think that's going to be it for tonight. I've lost my spacing on the schedule of these episodes. Usually I try and do 2 to 3 days per video, but because this week has been so miserable and I've been able to do so little each day, I've kind of lost track of what goes together where. So don't bite me. And you may have noticed that I've shifted down from doing 3 times a week to doing 2 times a week. Once I get back on my grind and it cools down a little, I may switch that back, but that's what I was going for, was to post twice a week. So Tuesdays and Saturdays may be our ongoing schedule, but we'll play that by ear. Whatever we do and wherever we're at in the schedule, I hope you'll come back tomorrow and see what we get up to next. give the mower a little time to charge. But in the meantime, I realized that I haven't been out to inspect the hives in over 10 days. I'm going to leave the newly queened hive alone, except maybe to peek into that top box just to see if they've started drawing any comb out up there. But I need to check in the second box to see if they requeened and if they're doing okay. If not, I've got time then tomorrow to try and run over to Kudik's and get a new queen for it. So I've got my smoker warming up and my wagon all filled up, so let's head over to the hives. That was definitely a speed run, but it gave me the information I needed, which is that hive has requeened very nicely. There is a ton of capped brood in there, so I think they're going to be fine now. There's still a lot, it's very interesting, there's still a lot of empty frames on the outside edges of the bottom box, which I would have expected by now that those would have been drawn out instead of them going up. And the outside edges on the second box are also empty. The third box, they're just starting to draw out comb. But that's fine because obviously there's plenty of space in the lower boxes. I just hope they realize those boxes are up there. And I'm really tempted, although Steve said I don't need to do this, to swap those top 2 boxes. So the empty box is next to the brood box to let them know, hey, you've got all this extra space to be drawing out for brood, so why aren't you? But I'll check in with him. We've got our club meeting next week, so I'll ask him about it then. But otherwise, I'm very happy with that. They did not like me being in there yet again, and I guess that's just what I've got to get used to. And this switching off weeks may be the best way to approach this, that I do 1 box 1 week, or 1 hive 1 week and 1 hive the next week. So I'm having to get into the hives more often, but I'm aggravating them less. I also think I might get a full bee suit because bees don't mess around with light colored things. That's why we paint the boxes light colors. That's why the bee suits are white. Going out in my blue jeans, which are dark, is probably part of why I'm getting stung on the legs so much. I didn't get stung today, fortunately, but I also didn't poke around very long. I really would have liked to have spent more time going through each of those frames and getting a sense for how well is she laying, how much is she creating. But I got in just enough to see what I needed to see, and we'll have to go back in. And the other thing we're going to have to do is go in and do a mite check now that she's laying well. And, you know, I probably won't do that for a couple more weeks just to let them finish getting established. But I'm going to have to do that soon. And I'm also going to have to do that on the requeened hive now that that's getting reestablished. So like August 15th is probably going to be my big mite check period. Because they'll be starting to do their winter egg laying in just a couple of months. And we want to have those mite counts down so that they're not impacting the larvae of the bees that we're expecting to help this hive survive the winter. If they're infested with mites and sick, they're not going to last the winter, and then I'm out on a hive. So we want to avoid that as much as we can. But that's not a problem for today. I'm happy with where we're at for right now, and I'm going to put my beekeeping gear away, and then I'm gonna start mowing. It's not the most glamorous thing, but it needs to get done. Today's a beautiful day. It's not too hot. It was pretty hot in that bee suit, which is why I'm sweating. But out here, it's nice and breezy and comfortable, so I'm not too worried about the heat. The mower's almost charged up, so let's put this stuff away and get mowing. to get all of the mowing except the garden pasture done on one charge. I had about 10% charge left, but that's not enough to do the pasture. So I've got the mower charging, and I might get it done tonight, but it's 7 o'clock now. It's starting to sprinkle. I don't know that it's going to amount to much, but just in case I'm not going to commit myself to that, I can finish it first thing in the morning, because that's pretty straightforward mowing. I had to keep double checking with myself that today was Friday. I'm pretty sure it's Friday, but this week is such a blur that I can't even tell what day of the week it is, even though I worked all week. The chickens have started figuring out that they'll get mealworms if they come over here. So I'm trying to connect that with a chook, chook, chook to get them used to the idea of coming when I do that, so that, you know, they'll think they're getting treats, but I can at least collect them when they escape like this. They did discover the area that's going to be their chicken run, so I saw them poking around in the weeds over there. So that's good. I'm going to finish that work on the coop tomorrow. I'm going to seal the seams, and I'm going to put some extra ventilation in there. I have to get a hole saw tomorrow to do that. And what else? I'm not sure what else I'm going to do tomorrow. I think it's going to depend on the weather and my energy. I woke up this morning with every joint in my body aching, and I have no idea why, except that I'm old and the weather's changing. So chicken TV. They're very entertaining to watch. And as they're getting feathered out, they're just so pretty. The Jersey Giants are still a little patchy looking, so I feel kind of bad for them. But, oh, here they come. Here they come. And do you guys need more?